Hello! Welcome, gang, to Sketching with Izzy. How y'all doing today? I hope everybody is happy and healthy. Just adjusting my musics. Gotta get these things under control, you know? If it's too loud, I can't hear myself think. Which is sometimes good. But not when I'm chatting with y'all. Killwrath, greetings, welcome. Glad you could join us. Don't know what we're drawing today. We'll paint something fun, I think. Kind of was thinking maybe some kind of Halloween goof would be fun. You know, we're getting closer and closer. I'm feeling in the Halloween spirit, shall we say. Let's see. I put it in portrait format this time. I don't know if you guys can even see my brushes. Let's see. Oh. There we go. Hello, old friend. Avid, hello, welcome. Damn. I sodaed the hell out of that stream. That's like 90% bubbles. Shit. That's for you all. That's a little present. Okay. Let's get some lines down. You gotta just go. Just start. Usually when I'm doing these, you'll see me kind of glancing around. I'm not even looking at the canvas. I just want to make marks. Doing a little haunted R2-D2 there for some reason. That's fun. A little Prezi for later, indeed. Welcome, Cypher. Good to see you on. Been a productive day for me. Lots and lots of meetings, but they like some major progress on the game and things like that. That's always a good feeling when you're moving forward on a group project, you know? Kind of the worst thing ever is just stalling out. If you're doing a character sketch, I find it's a good idea, just like when you're doing figure studies, just kind of fill the canvas quick and see where your placement's going to be. If you can kind of just get a rough idea of how they will fill that space, your figure, you can start making decisions much faster. If you sit and you're noodling one part, especially if you're working on paper or something like that, you get stuck on it, and you can pinch yourself out of the greater composition, or you'll miss information. It's a hot mess. Starting with a dark canvas. I'm not sure what I'm planning to do with lighting at all. I just kind of... I want to make my spook a little bit, I don't know, obfuscated, a little lost in darkness. Play with my edges a little bit. This, my friends, is what we call narrative storytelling. I've been watching videos of different artists painting on YouTube lately, just to kind of just see the new stuff, the new styles, the new techniques that are kind of coming around in digital. And I'm seeing a lot of real like soft, very Renaissance looking illustration stuff where they're doing build-up strokes like this, like really slow, delicate, layered type plane work, and it's super nice. It's very floaty and soft, and I dig it. So I'm gonna see if I can do a little bit of that today, because I tend to paint real chunky kind of. I'm sort of your potato-y finger paint digital artist. I just try and chunk it down as fast as possible and move on with my life, rather than rendering, you know, a rib cage for 20 hours. But you cannot argue with the effect. Like, it looks amazing. All right, real quick, I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit of light. I think since we got some purples, we can get a little greeny goodness in here. The other thing I've noticed in terms of their work is they're very dark and super keyed in the dark side. JMH, welcome, Yar. So I'm going to try and do a little bit of what I've been seeing lately with these kind of Renaissance style paintings. See if I can do something like that. So it'll be, the focus today will be on edges and very gentle, tender rendering. Promises, promises, I know. I'm not even sure how much of this you guys can see. It's probably really dark to you. It's quite dark to me. I can't quite, with the lights on, it's tough to see there. Lazy, welcome. Thanks for joining us super late. I know. Oh wait, no, actually today is a little bit earlier, huh? So you're not near comatose today. So one thing I have noticed with these paintings that I'm thinking of is when they do these really dark keys, they're failing still to do a clear delineation between light side and dark side, because the assumption is that everything is dark. But even if you only have a soft fill light, you should have a light side and dark side. It's just going to be very, very tight. And I've noticed that they get around having to do that by virtue of just doing a really, really tight, super dark value key. It works, I'll be frank. But it could be better, I think. And that is by defining a light source within that tight value key. I'm just going to try and keep it really simple. I'm just going to merge it down. I'm not quite sure what I'm planning to do here. I got kind of a rough thought in mind. You guys speaking in emojis? I don't understand that stuff. I'm old. I'm too old for that shit. I'm gonna have to, I'm leveling it up just a touch because I can't really see it. It's too bright in my room from the lights. So I'm gonna be losing a little bit of the spookiness for you guys. I'm sorry. I cannot see. It's way too bright in here. It's a little bit better. Maybe that'll help just a touch. Izzy, aren't you like 22? Oh God, no. Double it. That would be amazing. 22 again. Super dumb. Drinking too much tequila. Vomiting on ceilings. Oh no. 22 is where it's at. It's true. Y'all know me so well now. I have no secrets from thee. I think I'm kind of doing like a weird sort of diving bell scarecrow kind of thing. He's a pothead. No? Okay. It's the little things. I could hear you guys groaning from the other side of the planet. It's all right. How to unsubscribe. Smash that unsubscribe button. All viewers have left the chat. It's true. I've broken the internet with my lameness. It's okay, I'm used to that. Okay, I got a special challenge for you, gang. Check it out. Help me think of really amazing Halloween themed movies that are not horrors. That's a challenge for you. I've been trying to think of some. I always kind of come to the mindset that it's that like the question of what makes something Halloweeny, and it's not necessarily the horror aspects, but kind of the holiday spirit, right? I mean, I think like the easy stuff is the monster ones. You know, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraiser, my favorite. Addams Family, Hocus Pocus. Oh shit, I haven't seen Hocus Pocus in years. I did see something on Twitter about it this morning, though. I guess the cast are reprising their roles for some special event or something. That's a great movie. Hocus Pocus. The Witches. Great voices. Welcome. Addams Family. Addams Family lucked out, man. That was one of those movies where they were able to do a sequel, and the sequel was equally awesome. Like, I feel like that's pretty rare. I loved that movie and the sequel. Let's do a quick color pass. I just want to vary up the color just a touch. I think this will be good as a mono, you know, not a monotone, but a shit. My brain has completely left the building today. I haven't had enough coffee. That's what it is. Whatever. A simple analogous color scheme will probably suffice. There's always multiple ways to say the same thing. Why not? Why not? You just lean into the decay, the slow, inevitable decay of my brain. Over the Garden Wall was so good. Gravity Falls wasn't really Halloween-y, but it definitely had monsters. I loved Gravity Falls also. There were some pretty damn spooky episodes of Gravity Falls. I remember that now. But man, Over the Garden Wall just genuinely, like, without being a horror show, gave me the willies so many times. That's a great, great little animation. I loved it. Cypher, Over the Garden Wall is incredible. The art is so good, and the characters, the voices, like the whole thing. But there's this weird, creeping melancholy and darkness to it that is just, it's very intense. I loved it. You painted the little rock and have it in your flower bed? That's awesome. Dude, the Cypher character, the whole second season of Gravity Falls and how they tied it all together was genius. I thought it was a really well done show. And yeah, it had creeps. But they were the good kind, like that kind of, you know, Twin Peaks weirdness. Yeah, the atmosphere was great. And the character design. I loved the character design of Over the Garden Wall. I've heard that team is doing or has done something else recently. which is an exciting prospect. So actually, you know what this reminds me of is those asylum keepers in Dracula. Kind of like a creepy version of that. I guess this would be better as a cage if I were going that route. Okay, so one of the things I noticed when I was watching these other painters is they figured out their edges really quickly. And I tend to be soft and work them out as I go. But this time I want to try really hard to, since I am painting, to suss out my edges, get all of the primary outer contour information implied. And one thing I noticed is they're really forgiving of them for themselves of their edges. So they'll just kind of scribble stuff, and there's a lot of back and forth, you know. So they'll find an edge, and then they'll cut back into it, and they just do this back and forth a whole bunch. And it ends, like I said, it lent this quality of airiness that I really liked. Did I do hard edges for the last drawing? Well, I started it as a silhouette, which is kind of doing the hard edges from the beginning in a way. But this is a little bit different. It's like they paint out the edges, at least the ones that I watched in their videos, of the different elements like this. And then they just kind of do these edges. They play with the edges. Their edges are so controlled and soft. And it gives it very much that painterly effect. Yeah, basically the thing I'm going to be fighting the hardest against is just my preference for making really chonky, harsh bits of light. Let's do a quick save. Yeah, Andrew Loomis is awesome. I love his stuff. When I was looking at artists from that era, the ones like I really trended towards the Brandywine school and what's his name? He did all those Saturday Evening Post covers. The Thanksgiving one. See, I told you my brain is just out the window after a work day. I got nothing. My brain is dead. Not Loomis. God damn it. Oh well. He's good stuff. I like the chunk. I always like chunky painting. So this kind of approach is not how I normally do things. Leindecker, thank you. But I thought it looked really fresh, and I just wanted to see what it felt like. It looked fun, and it looked like it was something that would broadcast well. You know, I'm always thinking about you guys, right? So I thought it would be fun to try it out on camera. And then you can see me fail as I go. Because failure is hilarious. And I mean, one of the things I saw was, it was so crazy. This artist would like, okay, I'm going to grab a value here. And they would do these little like tiny contour strokes. And they would just work these forms again and again with a new value and a new value. And just carve into them. Just reinforcing again and again the contour direction and texture. And then also just super slowly layering up their lights and their darks. And what was funny is, so this is actually kind of a pet peeve I wanted to bring up, is all these artists will post stuff and they call it a speed paint. And I don't know why they call it that. I don't know how the definition of a speed paint and speed painting has gotten so warped over the years. But I was watching the video, and this person was rendering, and I mean, I am not kidding. They were rendering like this slowly, and you're seeing that much of the pixel information changing that fast. And then they just sped it up with video like 4 to 8 times, which made it look quick. That is not a speed painting. That's just a sped up painting. A speed painting is like getting it done really quickly, right? I mean, I thought maybe I don't know. I've stroked out or I've jumped timelines. I've mandalaed all over the place. I've made a big mandala mess. Or Mandela. I always say that wrong. Sped up painting. Yeah. I remember like speed paintings was like, okay, I need to get a painting, an effective painting in, 25 minutes. And that's what I practiced so hard to learn and to try and master. And then I guess, no, really all I needed to do was just film myself and then speed it up and then I'm done. Like, that's not how this works, gang. At least that's not how I thought it worked. Now, that pedantry aside, the painting was still amazing. They're clearly incredible artists. It's just, I find that as a definition kind of annoying to diminish what a real speed painting actually is and what it involves. Like, that's not easy to do. To do a proper speed painting, and obviously it's not something you should aspire for. That doesn't replace making great paintings. But to just call everything that's sped up a speed painting is weird to me. So in keeping with my intent, my practiced intent, remember that we've talked about this many times. If you're going to be working on a specific thing to practice, or you're looking to sit down and paint and do some practice, sit down and have a plan and do that specific thing to try and improve that specific skill, because intended practice will get you there much faster than just kind of trying to tackle everything at the same time. So my intended practice on this one is to try to paint with a really tight value key and do this kind of rendering, this more sort of trendy style a little bit. I'm obviously not going to pull it off. I'm going to do my version of it, but I also want to introduce my values quickly and ensure that I have a clearer form, because I think that's what a lot of these artists doing it in this style are missing. They have the value control down, they're just not lighting. And I think it's a weird thing to avoid, considering you clearly have the control, you have the ability. You should totally take advantage of it, you know? Speed painting demos, actual speed in real time. Yeah, totally. Do you think RoboCop counts as a Halloween picture? Probably not. I guess that's more of like a summer blockbuster, huh? Although that first one it's filled with horrible shit. I had nightmares when I was a kid from that damn toxic waste scene. where the guy got melted. What was that? It was like a Stephen King anthology. Cat's Eye. Did y'all see Cat's Eye? That was pretty good. At the Drew Barrymore, and it followed a cat around, and then the cat engaged in these different supernatural tales. It was pretty cool. It had a creature. I love creature movies. It had creatures in it. A creature, like a little troll creature. It was tiny and would steal your breath as you slept. Proper creepy. Okay, see what I'm doing here? I'm getting really, really chunky with my values. That is not what I intended to do. I need to soften this. I'm regularly using my brushes that I like, and they tend to be chonky because I like chonky, and we can't do that now. We're trying to be soft and subtle. The Shining, yeah, The Shining was super scary. Pumpkinhead, that was a great one. So ridiculous, I loved it. The Shining, I think, is pretty scary. Even Dr. Sleep had some pretty good spooks in it. Demage, welcome. Glad you could join. I think The Shining is properly scary, and if you read the book is really fucking scary, man. I think Kubrick glommed a little bit more onto the psychological aspect, which is fine, and I think was really successful. But definitely the Stephen King version is like, there are some scenes in that will make you piss your pants. I like how, what's his name? The writer of, not Darabont, Flanagan, did Dr. Sleep. His Dr. Sleep was great. That guy is just winning. He is kicking ass with horror these days. His shows and movies are just the best. He did the Haunting of Hill House and the new Bly Manor one, which I haven't watched yet. I'm scared. I'm so scared to watch it. Hill House scared the crap out of me a couple of times. I'm going to hear a big brown man scream. That's the show. Yeah, Flanagan is great. Great artist. Yeah, Cypher, if you don't like scares, I wouldn't read the book. But that book has got some... it's got some moments. Oh yeah, no, Stephen King is definitely my favorite coked up genius. Hill House had great imagery, but the whole show narrative fell flat at the end. I think there's no real way to deliver on a scare, like a long format horror show that has any kind of emotional delivery and depth. There's not really a way to deliver on it that isn't going to feel a little bit flat compared to the build-up. But I think that's a problem with the format rather than really that show. It's just really hard to do a payoff for something like that. I mean, you can see it in other long format things that weren't intended to be that way. You know, like the Freddy movies and Friday the 13th. They just have to change up the threat all the time, and it's not, you know, family psychological tale. If it's just tough, it's a tough format. I get it. You feel like they didn't do the payoff for Hill House? That's fair. Yeah. Oh yeah, that Kane guy was scary as hell. You know, one show that I like to look at other places for, you know, other cultures in particular for interesting horror. And I remember a long time ago, before they started doing American versions of a lot of these, like The Ring and things like that. There was I believe it was Chinese, or maybe it was a Korean. I think it was Korean actually, called The Eye, which was about, and I don't, that was the English translation of it. I don't know what it was called in Korean. It was about a girl who got these ocular transplants. She was blind and she got these eyes, and through these eyes, she ended up seeing ghosts everywhere. And holy shit, that movie scared the crap out of me a few times. And it was really interesting because it featured things that were culturally specific, that you, if you did not know the cultural aspects of those things, this scare wasn't as impactful. And because I had some friends that are Korean at the time that I was watching it with, they could explain some of that stuff to me, and it was so cool to get that broader experience. And it was then that I learned how much we miss in translation when you don't have the cultural background that matches that thing. And it made me rethink a lot about the stories that I've read and the pictures that I've seen in regard to the cultures that they came from, or the culture of the creators that they came from. Yeah, King struggled with a lot of the endings on his books. That's true. It was a weird ending. Lazy, you saw the original The Eye? Yeah, it is. It's totally another level. And the way they built up the creep in that show, and then actually the payoff was pretty good in The Eye. And it was one of those ones where it wasn't necessarily, horror. I mean, it was horrible, but it wasn't horror at the end. So the payoff was kind of like what we're talking about, but they pulled it off. They did a great job with that. And it still was scary as shit. That elevator scene, goddamn. Yeah. Just turning your back on stuff. That show ruined me for having my back to things. So it just ruined me. I hate this song. Whatever this is, it needs to stop immediately. Go away. You didn't sleep for days. You only saw the first season of American Horror Story, and you did like the ending, even if it was a bit tongue-in-cheek. Great voices, me too. Also, that was the only one. Thank you for the follow, Bazari. Welcome. Glad you could join us. The very first season of American Horror Story had a couple of scares that I still think about today. And they were so successful. The buildup was so successful. And they were operating on all these tropes. And they touched on things that were culturally significant at the time and still are. I thought they did a great job with that first season. It was so good. Scared the crap out of me. Yeah, I loved it too. It was my favorite. I only kept watching as long as I did because I hoped that they would be able to, that they'd be able to deliver at that level again. And they never really did. But I'm grateful that they did the first one because it was brilliant. You were forced to watch it? Somebody held you down and made you watch American Horror Story? Don't do that. Is it all right if you redeem a critique right now? Avid, of course it is. If you can send me the link, I'll pull it up somewhere else and we can do a quick critique for you. Sure. You liked Circus, but what a massive letdown. It was okay. That was about when I was done. And then I went back and I watched the cult one or whatever, the ones that were kind of set in a near distant future or something like that. Post-apocalyptic. Yeah, it was a little bit weak. All right, let me see if I can pull this up, my friend. Well, don't feel bad if it doesn't work from the get-go. We will do it no matter what. Let me open this up. Okay. Are you okay with me showing this here publicly? I just need you to confirm. I see the painting. It's a pirate character. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna copy the image. I'm gonna do a save here. All right, gang. Avid has redeemed a critique. He has been watching for quite a while now. And we're gonna take a look at a painting and give him some notes to help him out. Sorry, I just gendered you. I don't actually know your gender, but yeah. We got the idea. I'm trying, gang. All right, let's take a look here. Look at these colors, yes. Okay, no notes on the page. My goal is never to hurt, it is only to help. But much like healing, sometimes one must rasp away all of the rot to make things work. This is lovely. I love the colors. Nice, nice play with edges. Pretty good. We got some perspective goofiness happening, just a little bit. But I love all the elements here. That's good. Okay. Oh, we're gonna make you bleed, my friend. We're gonna make you bleed. No, your perspective needs some work here. Let's first of all outline. Your focal point is somewhere, I'd say. See what I mean? It's kind of tough. So your foreground focal point is somewhere around here, maybe? Judging by the position of the knees, judging by the ellipses, the belt, the corset, the shoulders, the eyes maybe could be tilted up a little bit more. So that's that. And then, of course, we have our focal point going back from your planks. And then we have the boat, which is on a completely different horizon plane. If you have a horizon line, then the sea must go to that horizon line. If, supposing that you can't see the end of the ocean because of atmosphere or whatever, that's fine. But that means that we need to change the direction of everything else in the shot. So to get this to all feel right, maybe your land plane is a little bit lower. See what I mean? This is kind of, our camera needs to be really low. It's either the figure or the boat. One is going to have to win. I think the figure is pretty solid, so we could raise the boat up. Which, of course, means we're going to have to change some of this stuff here. You have... Okay, so I'm going to give you some sailboat crick, but it doesn't really matter. Most people don't know this stuff. But you have... Essentially, you have square sails going this way, and you have wing sails going this way. The problem with this is the square sails are meant to have wind come from behind, and the wing sails are meant to capture the wind like wings do by change, so they need to be tilted towards the wind. If you have them both, they actually cancel each other out, so that doesn't work. Rasp away all the rot. Yeah. I've been accused of worse being a writer. So yeah, and then yeah, there's other boat stuff. I'd say get the boat reference like you have for your figure. I'm not going to belabor it too much. So we have a strong light source, which is creating our rim light around our clouds. I'm judging by the glow here in the haze and bloom that your light source is behind her head. We have a little bit of a glow and bloom here, again implying that the light source is behind the figure. So there's kind of a problem in that the light source is rim lighting everywhere around these things. And that it doesn't quite work like that. What you're going to want to do is let them be dark on the one side and rim light just where the light is hitting. Rim light requires that the light is behind that, directly behind that thing. Sailing knowledge is what you're here for. Huzzah! Okay, so you can also do that. Let's say we've got some clouds like this. And what this can be useful for is like maybe implying, you know, lines that draw in the face towards your lines drawing attention to the face. Okay, all this said, this means that you're going to have a really strong bloom or a rim light around your character, which is cool. But because of that, that means that you also have your character silhouetting out. Kova! Bloody dog. So you can have a fill, but I try to find ways, if you're going to do a fill light on a character that's being heavily rim lit, as this character is, I try to do a opposing color. So we've got some warmth on her, behind her, that purplish warmth. I would probably take it cooler myself. You have an issue with the color relationship. So everything in this is very highly saturated. It's a very rich color scheme, which is cool. But if you want to really emphasize your character, you'll want to either make the character less. You want to create contrast. Contrast is where visual interest lands. Your focal point is going to be where contrasts are. So either make her less saturated or make the background a slightly less saturated. Let's actually turn off all saturation. So your lighting feels pretty cool. Like the lighting and the contrast of the values are definitely what's keeping our eye there. But these really brilliant colors back here, you could knock back a little bit. And another way you could do that is to desaturate the foreground and do fills. See, we don't have any cool colors here at all. You could do fills that are cooler. And then do your pop of highlight. Just to vary things up, if that makes sense. Scratchy. You fibbed the lighting a lot just to make it more appealing than realistic. That's fine. Narrative lighting is a big part of this. You're gonna, if you are going to fib lighting, you want to make sure that there is as much realism in it as you can fit. So that would mean things like ensuring that the colors all behave. So if this is fibbed lighting, then let's in fact get rid of. No, I still think it's better to be more silhouetted here. We can do a little bit of fill, but not much. We need to do the same thing with this white shirt, but the white shirt needs the colors of the environment. So this is a color relationship thing. This will seat your objects in the scene better if they use the same colors. When you're seeing painters using like a root color or a base color as their color key for a total painting in the palette, when we're talking about traditional painting, the reason they do this is because it's something that happens with light itself. Light hits everything in the environment and bounces around. So everything that is being lit by the original light source and is picking up light from all the bounce lights is also picking up little influences of color from all those different areas. So you can get away with, if you're going to go stylized, then as long as the stylized light follows the logic of light and color, then it will still behave. You can punch, in some places you can punch the shadows a little bit more with that color. I'd say these are down here are places where you can really kind of just chunk in some accent values with your rich color. Do you see what I'm saying? What it does is it lets your viewer know that this is more of an illustrative approach that you're after. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have whole lessons that are just about basically faking the lighting just for narrative purposes and for mood. See the difference? So it's just about seating the character in that space, even if it is a made-up light space. I think there's still a lot of opportunities to knock back and control the values, control the colors. You don't want to have them take you over. introduce colors and introduce colors and hues into the different surfaces. So like I would try to get some of this purple of the sky is very, very intense. I would go out of my way to try and hint at it in other places where the values matched. And the reason for this is, again, to unify everything so it doesn't feel like it's paint by number. It doesn't take a whole lot either. If you're going to spend the time to, this is an aside, but if you're going to spend the time to render flintlock and things like that and do all these details, if you have chunky wood like this and it's not, the light isn't there, you have photo textures or something like that describing everything, it's not going to be enough. You need to get the light in there. You're missing opportunities here to do fill lights with that cool. It can still be darker, it can still be clearly shadow, but populating with the different colors you have available to you is kind of the point. I would use these colors definitely for the atmosphere. I would go even richer because the purples you have behind it are so strong. Same. You see what I'm saying? Just mix up your colors, warms and cools, introduce things, unifying, making everything feel like it's affecting everything else. You need to have that so that the painting feels cohesive. Otherwise, it's going to feel piecemeal and colored by number. Same thing. You know, I was talking about cools. We could absolutely bring cools in here. Uh-oh. Getting some pausing. CPU's good. Memory's good. Yeah, I would definitely use a cool fill on her face, and maybe even a bit in the shirt. You have these extra light sources. So this shirt, for instance, we can see that there's cast shadow right here from this shirt collar, which implies that you have a light source that's coming from above and on our side of the picture plane. Fine, but you need to have that unified everywhere. So instead of having it willy-nilly, you need to pick one direction and then stick with that. Okay, so the face tells me a different story than the shirt, and the face is more rendered, so we will follow the face instead. We'll grab that and we'll go light and cool instead of light and warm, because this is a fill light. The warm light is behind her. And then see how this cool stands out against the warmth of those new colors that I brought in from the shadows in the back. It gives it that nice gauzy feeling that you're after. Make sense? Okay, let's see. I missed some questions. If anyone in chat has comments. The eye keeps getting drawn to the second mountain hill in the background, the distant one. The reason your eye is drawn back there is because of the insane amount of contrast. You have a lot of contrast up here at the focal point of the head, which is really good. If you want to minimize that, what you do is you crunch your values and you control the value key of that distant area. So we could actually grab these values that you have for the clouds and bring them in here in order to really push the distance. So this can look really far away. Notice that the shape of the thing isn't lost. We've just pushed it back with atmosphere. And in so doing, separate our foreground character more significantly. Make sense? I wish I had any knowledge to give you constructive criticism. I'm just here gawking at very talented chat. Nice. Love the purples. Me too. Okay, anything about the face? I like the face. It doesn't fit quite the realism of the rest of the body. I see that you have, it looks like photos as base for the hands. Is that right? Oh no, they are drawn. Nice. You just got real tight. So you must have had really, really tight reference on them. Your hands are creating a specific scale that the face is breaking. The hands are small and hyper realistic. And this is a kind of a simple rule when you're painting or drawing. You want to think about the base of the palm and the tip of the middle finger, and that space should roughly be from chin to the hairline. So if you have that idea, then you can kind of get the idea for this head, that the head is maybe a little bit too big or the hands are a little bit too small. I think the head is fitting the body. It's your hands are tiny. So beyond that, your rim lighting is a little bit over the top. You don't need much because the light source is not visible. So this is almost just light that's bending around the surface of the skin. And this is what we call a Fresnel effect. It's just catching in the little hairs and the reflectivity. You just smudged your glasses trying that out? Everybody at home is mushing their hands on their faces. I would say, structure-wise, I always start with the bridge of the nose. So, first of all, we're thinking about perspective. We know that our horizon line is very low. I think you probably had some photo reference to help here, so everything feels like it's in roughly the right spot. It just needs a little bit more of that touch of experience on it. I start with the keystone, and then knowing what we know, I would probably bring the nose out here. Following the muzzle forward, chin. I don't know, we could tilt it, I think. Okay, yeah, we could tilt it, but then we need to drop the eyes. So this eye should actually be probably here. A little bit lower and a little bit closer. This one can be a little bit higher. And then we got to check. Always check. And I think you've been doing this. I can tell that you're probably one of those people that flips the canvas reasonably regularly. Sorry about that. So I think I think you're okay in terms of balance. It's just about getting the alignment correct according to the perspective that you've got. So this brow should be just a touch higher. Following the nose, I would think I personally, so this is all personal choice stuff. When it comes to painting or implying different ethnicities, I like to accentuate differences and do it in sort of an earnest way. I have found that a lot of fantasy artists in particular, but also, sci-fi, when they're doing a variety of races or racial influences, they tend to just kind of homogenize them. And I don't know if it's because they fear being called out for doing caricature, or I don't know what the background is for that. But in my opinion, if you do it with an earnest intent, it's worthwhile to put in that time and study the differences so that you can capture them. So for me, I would make the nose just slightly broader, because I think the intent here is that her influence is a young black girl. I might button it up just a little bit, just a touch. You can still have stylized, you can still do that kind of stylized anime effect and things like that without going full caricature, and get a great variety of faces. I love seeing variety in the faces. I would do the same thing. So because the perspective affects the muzzle of the mouth, that changes the position of the features. So I would have the lips coming out just a touch, because our camera is below, right? If you're looking at my face and you see the shape of my lip, right? If you're looking from above, the top lip gets narrower and the bottom lip gets wider. If you're looking from below, the opposite happens, and you can see all of my chins. See that? So there, it's broader. It's tough to see, when someone's moving around. But take a look in the mirror. Take pictures of yourself. Creepily take pictures of people on the bus. They love it when you do that. I highly recommend it. Don't do that. And you'll see that from our position, we should see much more of the upper lip and a little bit less of the bottom. And if you felt like giving her, and this is individual characters, you could probably get away with giving her a little bit more chin, just to round it out a bit more. That could be considered, it could be considered a little too masculine, but I tend towards a slight level of androgyny myself when I'm doing these designs. I think it just makes them more approachable. So you're going to have the muzzle will pop out just a bit, and then you're going to have the shape of the chin come forward just a bit. And all of this needs to follow that perspective you've established. I love the jaw. You did a great job on that. The ear looks good. Maybe the meatus in here could be a little bit more defined. But it's honestly, the face looks really good. I think it looks pretty good. It's just about, if you're going for a little bit more of a stylized realism, try and capture a bit of the ethnic influences without making it gauche, and always be following your underlying perspective. So hopefully that helps with the face. Half elf, half black, yeah, could be. I just reckon there's black elves. I love painting dark skin. It's precisely because of the really fun challenge it presents as a material. I do have a whole lesson in the Gumroad on painting skin. Actually, I have several lessons on skin. It's a whole sequence of material painting lessons, but one is specifically painting darker skin tones, because it is different. And the fact is that if you're going to art school even, but if you're a complete autodidact and training yourself, you're going to get basically a lot of lessons that teach you how to paint skin one way. And that's not how it behaves. You need to understand how materials differ, how base color can change things, how surface of material can change things in regards to how it reflects light. And that's really where dark skin comes into play, is how it plays with light. Great stuff with that representation in high fantasy setting. That's awesome. People don't mind when you take pictures of them, but you think women get a free pass taking pics of strangers. That is absolutely true. Awesome, Evan. I'm glad it was helpful. And thanks for watching so long that you actually got to purchase it. That's great. This is a good painting. I like it. Put that shit in the portfolio. Believe me, guys get tons of glare. I don't even bother taking pictures of people. A margarita in Dallas. Avid, you're on. All right. I'm going to close this out. And now mine looks so dull in comparison. Thanks. Yours is all vibrant and colorful. Jesus. Now everybody's gone. They don't even want to look at this. It was so pretty. I guess I better add some more light. That's what this tells me, is I need much more lighting here. I'm just gonna do a screen layer because I'm lazy. Yeah, definitely. Put a little more time. Throw it in the portfolio. That's fair. That's a fair thing to do. I don't judge it. I'm doing this just quickly now to get the values in. We will actually render it proper, which was the kind of the point of this whole foofara. What I like about doing these quick screen layer punch-ins is you can do big value changes really fast, and it's non-permanent, so you can kind of see what it looks like and be like, yeah, no, whatever. Go in the background, go even darker. I'm going to do some rich color glazing. Let's do a multiply. Oh, you just read Maggot. Awesome. Did you like it? You liked the Slums of Mumbai? Awesome. Thanks. That's awesome. I think it's going to need to be kind of a purple tone. So here's a quick cheat for those of you that are interested. If you're doing these kind of darker paintings, actually this would have even worked on Avid's painting. You can falsify a focal point by implying a spotlight. And how you would do that is by mushing the values together like I just did in the background with this glazing. And then on your figure, unifying the dark values down so that your highest contrasts are up towards your focal point. So I knock all of these back, and I'm going to keep the value relationships down here tight. And then what you get is this kind of fake chiaroscuro lighting scene where it's almost like a spotlight on your figure. And it's a great way to get to imply a focal point with a minimal amount of effort. And when you're doing it with, traditionally you would use like a really thin bit of paint, lots of medium, and a big juicy flat brush. We're going to do it with an airbrush. And you could do this. So the traditional poster painters that came before my generation from places like Art Center, that's how they were taught. So they learned how to paint these kinds of paintings with acrylics. And when they would paint, they would literally sit there with a paintbrush in one hand and an airbrush in the other. And the airbrush was used to really soften and smooth things out after they had just done a quick something with the paint. The logic. There's logic to this. It still counts as a kind of logic. I will hear nothing else. And instead of going lighter for my bounce light there, I'm actually going to go darker in the core shadow. So I'm creating a bounce light by leaving the value that's there and just creating a stronger terminator. Okay, so now we've got a new layer, and now we can start rendering a little bit more and exploring a little bit more. 9! Alpaca, welcome. Thank you for the follow. So I want some kind of symbol of threat with this figure, beyond the not being able to see their face in that little diving helmet. Cleaver is too obvious. What do you guys think? Maybe like an anchor or something, or like I don't know, some tool or some, maybe cuffs. Maybe he's been tied down and broken free. Could be like cuffs off the ankles or something. We just need symbols that help sell the idea. A tentacle? Ooh, that's actually not a bad idea. We're doing a little Shadows over Innsmouth kind of thing. Yeah. We can definitely make him kind of a fish person. And you know me and my love of tentacles. Not like that. Jeez, guys. Yeah, it's all about that Eldritch horror. Eldritch. Let's maybe make this one bigger. No, it can't be like a... It should be a hand, but it should be a disfigured one. No kink shaming in this pagan chat. This is true. You're drinking coconut water out of your tentacle mug? That's awesome. What that tells me is I just really need a tentacle mug, and I didn't even know that was a thing. This reminds me of some character designs I did for a small northern studio called Rock Pocket, I think is their name. And they did this game called Moons of Madness. And I did some creature designs for them, some real quickies. They're pretty fun. So it was kind of like this, except astronauts. I also did a robot design for them. Creepy robot. That was really fun. I'm gonna have to make an OnlyFans with a nice a Amazon wish list. I can have all those delicious tentacle mugs. You've played Moons of Madness? What'd you think? I haven't played it. It looked a little too much like a walking simulator to me, but the quality of the finish was really nice. I do love working with those guys. Hennig and his lady, Natasha, I think is her proper name. They do great work together. I know they're not at the same studio. They may have been at one time, but they're both awesome people. And I've worked with them both in the past. I know Hennig also does a lot of tabletop games. I think that's where he got his start, was tabletop map design and map art. It was lacking in the gameplay department. Yeah, definitely the art direction was tight. Awesome. I'll have an OnlyFans of one. I liked Carla's Twitch thing. Her fans are called Oily Fans. I thought that was cute. Very clever. Mad Purdy, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Glad you could join us. Maybe part of this outfit is kind of like a cultist. Like if we can mix like a cultist robe with a fisherman uniform and an insane asylum warden all in one, we'll have Halloweened it up enough. Then I will have earned your love. A friend told you that kinky shit sells really well on the OnlyFans. Well, I mean, yeah, isn't that the kind of the whole point? I thought OnlyFans was specifically a a sex worker venue. Is that not the case? Is it really just like an Etsy or something like that? And I only know the one side of it because porn, too much porn. Definitely not a problem. Oh, I see. You think I would attract niche group of spectators because, yeah, yeah, I guess that's fair. That's pretty cool. Oh, I see. So, like kink artists. Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a huge market for that stuff. I know it's ballooned into a major money grab. It works. I've seen a couple of those where they have Patreon and things like that, and they just make buckets. I remember at her peak, Sakimi-chan was making like shit. She must have been doing just shy of 1 million every year just from painting some kinky stuff. It's kind of amazing. It does sell, no question. I have never been able to package it myself, but I know that it works. And we'll come back to that hand. I don't love it, but it's there for now. Drawing smut is good money? Oh yeah, it really is. Like really good money. Oh, I've seen Calm Draw's stuff. They're really good. That's awesome artwork. It's pretty spicy too. Yeah, 5K is decent. That's a decent chunk. I have seen other artists on there making even more than that. And it's a completely viable way to do it. Shit, make money doing what you love, damn it. You feel like an idiot sitting through college only to make a quarter of that? Well, I mean, the key is to kind of ramp that up and over time increase your value. Actually, check out, I just posted a video on Twitter of a guy named Siamak, I think. And he talks about how to value yourself and price yourself as a freelance artist. Great talk. Great talk. It's on my Twitter, at Izzy Medrano. Check it out. It's my latest post. You should absolutely watch it. The guy is really good. And I'm actually doing a talk with him next week. We'll be recording a podcast together, I think, on Wednesday. So keep an eye on that. Give him a follow. Back to Halloween movies that aren't horror. Beetlejuice. Very true. I love Beetlejuice. Holy crap. I guess it was kind of a horror, though. But it was like cute comedy horror. Probably terrifying for kids, though. That's a classic. What about Stardust? Is Stardust a Halloween movie or is that a Christmas movie? Avid, expect taking time and slowly ramping up to always be the case when you are doing any kind of freelance or something like that, and you want it to be stable. Take my Twitch as an example. I mean, you just got to keep doing it and being there every day, and over time, hopefully the audience will come. But you can't ever count on that happening really quickly. And sometimes there's failure. I mean, prime example also, my Patreon did not work out. I put in a lot of time and I tried really hard and it didn't make it. But them's the breaks. Find something new, put in the time, and just keep trying. And if you can, try to do things that you enjoy doing and show when you share. That's at least at the bare minimum. If you go that route, at least you had fun when you were doing it, right? In case is great. Nightmare Before Christmas, yeah. I think Nightmare Before Christmas is more of a Thanksgiving movie myself. I'm probably alone in that one. So we're probably jumping the gun here, but I want to hint at some speculars. And this is something else that I saw in these images, which was they would do speculars, but the speculars were within the super, super tight value key that they established. So they would get slimy looking things without actually punching to the light source level specular, which is an interesting feature. I wanted to try it, so we're going to do that now. It kind of feels like cheating to do it this soon and to keep it so tight. But there are a lot of artists that do this kind of approach, and I think it looks really good. One of my favorites is Pelang. He does this. He was art director and illustrator on the Dishonored games. Fantastic artist. And he doesn't even really do illustrative painting anymore. It's much more almost kind of like a Russian poster art, hard graphic design style, and it's brilliant. I super dig it. I'm always impressed with the artists like that, where they're just so good at something and they basically dominate the market on it, and they're just like, I'll go do something else. It's like, God damn it. How are you so fucking good? Over there in Europe, you give thanks that you're not the US. Yeah, that's pretty much fair. Yeah, he's definitely branched out of concept. I think he was always kind of a very graphic approach type person. And the stuff where he mixed the two perfectly were so incredible. But like I said, he just has a great eye, and the work that he does is dynamite. And it doesn't matter what he's doing. His images are fantastic. Gray Voices, I'm with you on that one. I would love to magically absorb his skills. I would say him, Ryan Meinerding, and Simon Stollenhag would be the ones that I wish I could just learn by osmosis and just completely steal their skills. I'd meet the devil at the crossroads for that one. If you're listening, Mr. Devil, show up with some Dr. Pepper with some maraschino cherries in it, and let's make a deal. This is something also that I noticed with these artists that I was looking at, and I'm sorry I can't think of the name of them right now. I'll have to look it up. They did a lot of these kind of hatching, these little implied hatching bits with these little value punches. Excuse me, the gift is now giving. It's given back my soda. And what I found cool was it added to that traditional feel. Surprisingly, that hatching looks like brush strokes, like with a really thin oil paint. So we're gonna do some of that because fuck it, that was the point. We're just gonna make the juiciest sleeves ever. I'm gonna grab that, and that'll be my bright for this part. It won't be as bright as the other side, but it'll be bright enough for this one. Simon Stallenhog, yeah. Paling, Stallenhog, Minerdang. Stallenhog makes conceptual videos, or Pelling does? Yeah, I hear you. We do have freedom in barbecues. Supposedly. I'm doing keto now. Yeah, I'm still doing keto. It's going pretty good. You know, I find it's easy to keep up. That's the thing that I like about it is it's foods I like already, and you know, it's not hard. In terms of weight loss, it was pretty drastic at first, but it's kind of petered out, and so now I'm kind of like plateaued. But what I really like about it is just like how it's affected how I feel. Like I just feel lighter. I feel like more keen to kind of move around and play with the dog and run and stuff like that. Things that I just did not feel at all when I had a steady diet of tacos and beer. Although I do miss those things. No, it's been pretty good experience so far. So I'm just gonna keep sticking with it until I get tired of it. So far, it's been really easy to give up that stuff. I also found it interesting that it kind of using like a high-fat diet has changed like my cravings. Like I just don't feel hungry. Like I can full on forget to eat, which has never happened in my life ever before. I was always counting down to like the next meal. Like, oh God, what do I want to eat next? What's next? And I will. It has absolutely happened where I'll be playing video games, or I'm working, or I'm just hanging with people, and I don't even think about food. And it's so cool. I love that part probably the most. Hit Boy, thank you for the follow. Thanks for joining us. Glad you could. Scissor Hands. Oh yeah, I haven't seen Ever Scissor Hands in ages. I wonder if that holds up. It probably doesn't. Now that I think about it. Intermittent fasting works great. Yeah, I like it. I basically with keto, I've discovered that I do intermittent fasting without having to try. It just happens. I basically have to kind of force myself to eat breakfast. I don't even think about it most of the time. It'll usually be a surprise where I'll be sitting there just working, and then suddenly I'll be like, oh my God, I'm super hungry. I didn't realize that was coming up. Whereas classic Izzy would have been like, okay, it is now this time. That means it is time for lunch. I must eat. So when I was doing intermittent fasting before, without the keto, it was very difficult. Because then it would be like, oh God, how much longer? And I don't have that right now. I've decided I will follow some of the wrinkles, but some of these I kind of want to imply that maybe there's like a writhing mass inside these pants. Is it more expensive for me? Yes and no. The raw materials for keto are more expensive, but I find I eat a lot less. And I'm not eating like those expensive little snacky things. I'm not eating many snacks. I'm not spending any money, well, very little money on booze anymore. Like the booze I get, I'll just get like liquor. And then I mix it, I'll have soda and rum is my current favorite thing. I've been drinking Blackstrap rum and just straight soda. It tastes like a Coke to me now, even though it's not sweet. It's great. You find that when you go off carbs, you want to die way less. That's fair. I feel you. What kind of dog, Pit Boy? My dog is an English Bull Terrier, like a target dog, or I can always tell a person's age or generation depending on when they see my dog, what kind of dog they think of. Like if it's Don Cherry's dog or, Patton's dog. They're basically these potato-looking dogs that have they have like a big eggy face and these little tiny beady eyes. She's a shark pig, that's right. Nothing holds up really well, not even Star Wars, sorry not sorry. Yeah, that's true. It's true, it does not hold up. It has a lot of the adventure and fun, but a lot of it is held up by nostalgia. I've been experimenting with Star Wars for a long time, where I've been introducing people to it that didn't grow up with it and things like that, and trying to get their like honest opinion on these things. And I think it's fairly true of a lot of these. I mean, even some of my most favorite movies. One of my most favorite movies of all time is Willow. I've watched it easily dozens and dozens and dozens of times. I've broken 2 VHSs of Willow in my youth. I could basically narrate it with my eyes closed. I love that movie. And even objectively when I watch it, it has some pretty serious weak points. That's just the game. That's how it works. Let's see. Does Jurassic Park count? I don't know. I guess it could. They kind of imply that it's near some holiday, but I don't remember which one. Was it Halloween? Yeah, I can't remember. Maybe that was just in the book. Is he's talking about the mass in his pants again? I'm not talking about the mass in my pants. I was talking about the mass in his pants. Wait a minute. Something about this rings wrong. Anyway. The bump on the nose is best. Yeah. Oh, so you know these dogs, Pip-Boy? Yeah, they're great. She's super sweet, dumb as a rock, but really, really sweet. I literally had to stop her from eating rocks yesterday, so yeah. Oh, Cypher, you're dead right. I love Goonies. I love it. Getting somebody that's never seen it to watch it. I've had people tell me it's too slow. And that's true. I mean, the way movies are done now, they're so much more intensive, high energy. They're always the cuts are way faster now than they used to be. It's kooky dukes. What do you mean you don't like Harrison Ford being really rapey? Well, you know, it's a product of its time, right? The important thing is that Leia liked it. I think that's what matters. Jurassic Park does kind of hold up. I mean, especially for the effects for its time. It looks pretty good. Legend, yeah, Legend is great. Labyrinth is one of those ones. I think it holds up a lot of nostalgia, but it's one of those ones that's hard to get a new generation into it. I love Neverending Story. Warlock, welcome. Glad to see you join us again. Yeah, I love Neverending Story. Also, I think it's one of those ones that just doesn't resonate with the new generation so much. I want them to. I want them to love them because I love them. Dark Crystal. Oh god, the Dark Crystal series too. I can't believe they canceled it. I had a little cry about that. We're not going to talk about that right now. I loved the series they did. That was such a work of art. I could see where they were going with it too in terms of the quality and their intent. I had such high hopes for that show. What am I going to do with this belly here? I think. It's Halloweeny. It's super campy, which is part of why you liked it. Yeah, but it's the good kind of camp. Yeah. Goonies was great for lazy, but you didn't like Labyrinth. Really? What was it you didn't like? I'm curious. Dan Rob, welcome. Good to see you on. How you doing? Oh, the character? I just decided to paint some kind of weird Halloween monster spook thing. I have no idea. I think it started out as more of like I think I was intending kind of like a Mike Myers, lumbering serial killer type thing, and then it's turned into kind of a Shadow over Innsmouth, eldritch horror, manipulated into madness, acolyte. I don't know. I don't gotta explain nothing. I don't know you nothing. You get so excited to show someone younger Blade Runner and they weren't captured. Same for Dune. Yeah. Honestly, I think a huge part of it is pacing and the quality of the effects. We have to remember how much nostalgia dictates how much we like something. A prime example. So one of the things I like to do myself is I like to go back and look at things or read things that I loved when I was a kid just to test my taste then. And one of the shows that I went back and watched one of my favorite shows, Voltron. It is fucking garbage fire. It is so bad. It makes no sense. The acting is awful. The stories are just terrible. Whoever made Voltron should be written out of time. It's so bad. Admittedly, I think it was probably a situation of too many cooks in the kitchen, because I know that it was edited down for U.S. audiences. Like, I know that there was, I think Pitch was a girl or something like that, and it was just weird. It was a weird thing. But my love of it mostly had to do with giant robot lions, and not a lot to do with anything that was worthwhile or tasteful. It was just toyetic. And yeah, it was a harsh realization for me. So yeah, we got to be careful about the things that we hold up and hold dear, and try and watch them or re-experience them objectively, because sometimes we kind of, we add a little bit. Looks like an alien in a human suit. Yeah, I guess that's basically effectively what it is. Let's see. First time I watched Blade Runner was yesterday. Whoa. You felt slow, but the mood was ambient. They achieved... Yeah, the music is great. I mean, Blade Runner is a work of art, but it's definitely not for everyone. It's never going to be. I loved it. Gray Voices is younger gen. You keep bragging about that. Jeez. The rest of us are just slowly decaying into dust. Yeah, Blade Runner's great. I loved the sequel. I thought I personally liked the sequel even better than the original. Fight me. Blade Runner is a piece of history, and it holds a chunk of cinema history and narrative history, and it forever will. I don't disagree with that. Yeah, I did. I watched the new Voltron. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the chat right now. Sorry, guys. I did watch the new Voltron. I liked it. It was okay. It had some cool stuff, but it didn't. I mean, it certainly didn't grab me. One show that definitely grabbed me, I was totally surprised that it did that, was Steven Universe. I loved Steven Universe. I started watching it in a hotel. I got stranded in a hotel in Nogales, across just on the American side of the border. I had my car broke down, and I had to get it fixed, and I was stuck in a Motel 6 for like a week and a half or 2 weeks or something like that. And I managed to get totally addicted to Steven Universe, and I thought it was great. Super good show. Lots of fun. I love this Blade Runner argument. This is good shit. Really? You had to defend the sequel to Die Hard fans? That's a shame. I was a Die Hard fan, and I loved the sequel. I thought it was better than the original myself. Top notch. What I loved about the sequel is they managed to update. They took the visuals, the feel, the universe, and they updated it, and they made it relevant in a way that Blade Runner couldn't be anymore, just by virtue of how things have changed, how technology is different. They tackled different concepts, and it's deeper. To me, it's a much deeper story than the original Blade Runner was. It's a solid fucking movie, and it deserves just as much, if not more, love, I think, than the original Blade Runner. Yeah, I mean, to each their own. I loved the narrative of the original, but the fact that it needs so much revision tells you, in my opinion, that there was some narrative issues. I liked it better when it was a little bit more abstract. The original cut where they had the voiceover, hard pass. That was awful. I think everybody hated it. But the first theatrical cut, I think it was, where there were implications that Deckard was synthetic. I liked that. I thought that was cool. I didn't need it spelled out for me. I liked the ambiguity myself. Yeah, it's the new Blade Runner felt nostalgic without being nostalgic, which I thought was an interesting thing to pull off, and they did. I think they did a good job of it. Adventure Time, I could never get into Adventure Time. It was just too surreal for me. I did not like it. I've tried to watch it a couple of times. Same thing with Adventure Brothers. I never could get into it. I think those were ones that I just missed. I missed them when they were popular and everybody else liked them. And when I tried to watch them on my own on the boat, it was like, I don't even know why this is happening. This is just beyond absurd. I think I'm always drawn to stories where there's characters and it's all about kind of relationships and sort of an outward narrative that guides everything and a theme. And Adventure Time, although as I understand it, it does develop that. That first season is really hard to watch because it feels like I understand that the draw was that it felt like a Saturday morning cartoon for adults. It's just that's not what I was looking for, and it didn't satisfy me. I heard it gets more deep and better later on. I just couldn't get that far into it. It's a hell of an investment in time, especially when you're like actively rotting on the vine like this beautiful visage. You think Ryan did a pretty good job? Yeah, I think so too. Harrison Ford was dicey. I liked Harrison Ford in it. You should definitely watch the second Blade Runner Warlock. Honestly, just the intro, the first act of that movie is incredible. It's a great movie straight through. It has a really slow, it has a major lag in the second act that just kind of just drops everything to a halt. Which is the only thing I didn't like about that story, but it's great. It's so beautiful. You love the surreal art of Adventure Time. Watched it way after the craze. Oh, really? Okay. Like I said, to each their own. I mean, you're wrong, but that's cool. I'm kidding. No, I love what's his name? The guy that does Bender and the dog. Jake. He's a great voice actor. He's so fun. I just started watching something with him in it again because I was told by some friends that it was a worthwhile show. That's that Enchanted one. I tried watching it when it first came out and I didn't like it. And my friends we were just having this discussion. They were saying that it works on a second and third viewing. Like it just gets better and better. So I'm giving it another chance. So there's a chance I'll try Adventure Time again in the future. But I can't promise anything. I can't promise I'll love it. You know what it is? I think I like the magic in worlds to make sense and for the rules to be clear. And for a lot of cartoons these days, the magic in them, when they lean on that surreal side, is completely absurdist. And for me, as a person that's into narrative, that becomes problematic. I think it's why I liked Steven Universe so much, is the magic is very uniform, it's clear. It doesn't just throw random shit at you. It's a cohesive world-defining style of magic, and I like that kind of world building a lot. It tickles my writer's brain, I guess. Kova! Hey! Nah. My dog likes... We play Boof. Boof the game. Where she makes this little... Woof, woof noise. And I just interrupt her and I make the same noise back at her. And we see who can last longest. It's very funny. Except my dog gets real loud sometimes. She's such a brat. You watched it in the cinema and the background music was so mood that so loud that it made the screen vibrate in the middle. Yeah, that's a problem. You loved Enchanted, Cypher? I'm giving it a shot. There were definitely some jokes I didn't catch the first time that I noticed this time. I'm definitely a Futurama boy though. I loved Futurama. That was a major defining. That was a major creative force in my youth. Um, Futurama was life for a long time. You hated Enchanted, like it was really stupid jokes. Eh, that's kind of where I was coming. I don't think I hated it. It was just like it did not stand out for me. Yeah, Kova's pouting because she wants to go outside, but it's also freezing outside, so she hates it. It's this funny mix. She just goes out and then shivers, and then I bring her back in. It's boring. Your favorite recent show is The Mandalorian, Avid? Yeah, it is perfect. I loved The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian ignited my love of Star Wars. I had long been dead. Basically, after I was one of those idiots that went and camped out for the prequels. The sequels I camped out for. And then I went early once for the first prequel, and that's when I stopped. My love died with the prequels, and then everything after it wasn't that I hated the new sequels. I didn't hate them at all, but they just didn't. My love was already petered out and spent, and I didn't love them. They were cool, but they were just kind of just eye candy. I didn't have any emotional investment whatsoever. But The Mandalorian totally got me back into it. Sign me up. I'll take more of that any day. Yeah, the Western. It was like an old spaghetti Western with blasters. Fucking hell yes. Which I think was what I think they managed to capture that samurai movie spaghetti westernness that the original Star Wars had, and they did it in the right way, and it was just great. It's total magic. You have yet to watch it, Lazy? Well, we won't ruin it for you, will we, gang? No spoilers in Sketching with Izzy. We have spoilers, but it's a good show. You should watch it for sure. Yeah, Cypher's insistent today. Yeah, go watch it. New season coming out soon too. Yeah, it's true. You don't need to know Star Wars at all to enjoy The Mandalorian. It's a great show. Cypher's right. Go watch it now. I only watched a few episodes of Clone Wars. I never really did get into it, but I've heard it's really good. Yeah, I liked the grittiness too, Avid. It was there was a sort of gritty hyper-realism to it that I think comes from that spaghetti western background that they were absolutely following. I think that was effective, very effective. Rogue One brought back your love for the Star Wars. I really liked Rogue One, but it didn't feel like a Star Wars movie to me so much. I liked the characters, I liked the story. I would watch it again, but it didn't give me that nostalgic buzz where I craved more like The Mandalorian did. But I did like it. I think Rogue One is an underrated movie. It was really good. You felt like it was meh? Gray Voices, 100%. I fully agree with you there. I am definitely tired of the legacy stories. I'm glad that it's over now because of that. It just felt like kind of they were milking the hell out of the toyetic characters of the past, and I was way more interested and more invested in these new characters. And I think that's what I love about The Mandalorian, is it's unapologetically not dynastic. It's just, here's these crazy characters. They are not related very much to things you've seen before. If you don't, if you're not deeply versed in the lore, go to town, have fun with these new characters in this universe. I always thought the universe was very rich with options and potential, but it was just the constant adherence to the characters and the Jedi specifically that kind of killed it for me. I just wanted to see more. I really wanted them to go the gray Jedi route myself. I love the idea of ambiguity in the Force. It feels like it would have felt like the Force grew with us, But I understand why Disney didn't go that way. But I would have wanted very much to go that route. If I was writing it, I would have pushed for that. Like, there's no tomorrow. Got to turn down the Dom, yeah. Cypher's pushing it. She wants you to watch now. You'd like for them to explore more of the universe? Yeah. I don't. If you're talking about the Revan, that's in regard to the games, right? I don't know. RG Villain, welcome. Or is it Vian? I don't know. Welcome. Glad you could join us. I remember Revan being one of the characters from, I think it was Knights of the Old Republic, right? Excuse me, I can't remember. Those were great games. I liked those a lot. There were some interesting characters in them. Even Jedi Fallen Order has a great storyline with gray Jedis. Yeah. That's a great idea. I haven't played it yet. The Fallen Order game. I got to pick it up. I mean, that's all my old Sony family over there. Previous director, art director. I even had students that worked on that one, and I still haven't picked it up. I got to do that. I've been really bad about picking up the games lately. You know what it is? It's continuation of being on the boat. You know, I didn't have access to those things, so I don't think about them as much. They really missed an opportunity to lean into the no binary route, no Jedis, no Sith. Yeah, in The Last Jedi, I thought they were doing that too. I was really excited at the prospect of them doing a gray Jedi or gray Knights or something like that. I thought they really missed out. It was a distinct opportunity to totally influence the growth of a beloved franchise in a brand new way. But I understand that is not where the dollars is at. You can do a month of the EA Play stuff for like $12 and play it. Yeah, I personally don't mind paying full price for games. Because I am a developer and I know how much goes into it. I honestly think that games should cost a lot more than they do. I am definitely one of those people that thinks that it's a completely fair thing to have games go up $10 to $20 in price. Because when we're talking about price to value, it's insane what you get out of games compared to other media. Just my 2 cents. But yeah, I'm happy to pay the full price. I haven't had time. I've got other things going on, and when it's time for me to sit down and play, I tend to just play with what I've got. I haven't finished the games I have, so just collecting more doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now. I think I got my money's worth out of Animal Crossing, even though I haven't picked it up in months. That was a really fun game. I had a super fucked up island. It was great. I had written this whole backstory for my island where it was like archaeologist had come to the island and disappeared. Outside of a massive well up in the mountains, and some dark force was manipulating all of the villagers. It was really fun. Really need to finish Fallen Order 2. So hard to find time doing 70 hours a week on art. Hey, 70 plus hours a week on art is where it's at. Stay focused while you can. You have the theory that they were pushing that way, but then the Star Wars toxic community pushed back. Honestly, yeah, I feel like there was definitely some fan influence in how things went, like boycotts and things like that. I think things have gotten really out of hand with that shit. I would like to think that I wouldn't let myself do that, but again, I mean, when the people that pay for the things, and they're the ones that are always there, are shitting on what you're trying to do, it's kind of tough. I get it. Excuse me. That soda is some bubbly shit. Damn. Nothing quite like, signing on for a couple of hours, hanging out with somebody, and they're just burping into the mic at you all night. Welcome to Sketching with Izzy. We're going to talk about writhing masses, and we're going to burp. I don't know what is happening with this music, but it must stop at once. At once. Go away. You are not welcome here. What I miss here. Lazy, you're reverting to lurk. You haven't gotten any work done? Hey, no worries, man. Thanks for hanging out. Love it when y'all are chatting. That really makes this super fun for me, hanging out and chatting with you guys. Feel free to lurk, though. There's nothing wrong with that. Especially if you're doing arts. Expecting Disney, that was a slip, to not be conservative is entirely too much. 100%. They are a super conservative company. You watch the new Mulan, it's one of the worst movies you've ever seen. I can't argue with you. It was not good. I did not like it. And I had quite an interesting discussion / argument with a friend of mine who's also a game developer, and he was just like, you don't get it, you don't understand, you're not the market, you're not intended market, and so on and so forth. And I was like, yes, I understand all of that, but also there's just good story construction, and a lot of that doesn't fit here. And his argument continued to be like, culturally, you don't get it, man. You just don't understand. But then I went on to YouTube later. I never continued the discussion with him. I kind of just let it go. But I went on to YouTube later, and a lot of Chinese people did not like it. I'm not saying all, just a lot from what I saw. Like living in China, or Chinese Americans also were like, this is terrible, we hated it, it's not the representation that we were hoping for, etc. I don't know. Oh, I think I was right. I think he might be wrong on this one. This is the OnlyFans content you get. Damn right. That's what happens when you're doing something out of greed and not out of passion. I'm inclined to agree. Pandering to China, yeah. No, I mean, I don't doubt that there were problematic things in the original Mulan animation that were issues culturally for Chinese people. I don't doubt it at all, but at the same time, yeah, there was a narrative there that I think was important. I think the original Mulan was great. I loved it, even with warts and all. It was a great movie, and it was fun, and it felt like it had a stronger message about personal growth, effort, ingenuity, um, a different definition on masculinity. I mean, there was a lot. There was a lot to unpack in that original animation, and I thought it was great. And that new movie just really didn't have it. It had some cool stuff, but But that's how I approach so much stuff now. I think it's just my old age. I just don't go in expecting anything. I think that's when something actually delivers and charms the shit out of me, it makes me so happy. Like Mandalorian. When that came out, and I could tell a lot of it is totally contrived, sure, but those contrivances are hidden and masked in some really good, earnest storytelling and art, and I am much more willing to forgive the contrivances as a result. I don't know if it was the same for everybody else, but that's kind of how I thought about it anyway. Did I see the tech for the CGI? Oh my god, yeah. Actually, part of why I'm really focused these days on trying to teach myself Unreal is because of what they did with Mandalorian. I have a very strong feeling, and I've been hearing whispers on the wind that this is basically going to be the new industry standard. So if you're doing concept art, if you're looking to get into anything to do with film or TV, it might be a good idea to pick up some lessons on Unreal, because that is certainly the direction the wind is blowing. Did I see? Oh, nope, saw that one. Yes, I went into Mandalorian not expecting much, but was so happily surprised. Same. I went in and I was like, oh no. Oh God. And I remember basically by the middle of the first episode, I was like, yep, I'm in. This is cool. There's something here. Yeah, the 360 backdrop, that's incredible. That is going to be the future of sets, especially when we talk about the cost. So costs of building sets versus CG. The fact that it affects the light on the figures, like things that we talk about in here, absolutely come to life with that technology, and it's amazing. It's super cool stuff. So you gotta, if you're into it, you gotta get on this stuff right now. It's going to be industry standard. I can almost guarantee it. Have I played Detroit Become Human? Detroit Become Human. Was that, are you talking about, shit, what's it called? I'm already spacing on it. The Cyberpunk game. Shit, I actually liked it too, and I'm forgetting the name. That's like half of what this show is. It's just me forgetting basic shit. I'm not even drinking. This is incredible. Oh no, that was More Than Human or something, right? Like, oh goddamn. There was a game from like the early 2000s, and then they made a sequel like in 2010 or something like that, and then they just made another one. The Best of the David Cage Cinematic Overdramatic Universe. I'm not sure what you're referencing there. I don't know. David Cage. Dark Designs, thank you. Deus Ex, that is the one I was looking for. Yes. Are you talking about Deus Ex? Oh, my brain. I see. This is the sucky part when it comes to this stuff. I can imagine the visuals. Like, I remember the intro video to that thing, the trailer to it. I remember the glasses. The character's name is Jensen or something. Can't remember the name of the damn game. I'm gonna wake up inside a mechanical womb one of these days. Yeah. You're already a brain in a jar. Think about it. Detroit Human Revolution was a PS4 exclusive. Oh. Oh, it was an Indigo Studios game. Okay. You know, I never played it. What's the story with that one? That sounds pretty cool. I liked parts of Heavy Rain. I didn't play Beyond Two Souls, but I remember really liking the cinematic that they did to sell it. I'm thinking it was a cool idea. I remember there was a big drama about that because when that came out, that had what's her name, right? And Ellie from The Last of Us was heavily inspired by Ellen Page, right? And those two games were announced around the same time, so there was a big like kerfuffle at Sony. Quantic Dream, you're right. Didn't Indigo become Quantic Dream? Maybe I'm confusing them. They were like French studios or something like that. It's a good one, huh? I'll have to add that to my list of things to check out. Amazing story and choices. Yes, I read that. The facial animation tech is really impressive. Nice. If you ever want to play something with a great story and narrative, where choices matter, that's the one. All right. I feel like they could have done way more than the already too used "Can robotos feel like human?" They can kind of. I mean, with enough lube. Wait, what? There's no kids watching. It's okay. We're all right. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get banned for sure. This is why I don't teach anymore. Oh my god. I don't know what those things are, but I want them in there. So they're there now. Oops. Forgetting that I'm doing all of this on a single layer. This is an interesting struggle for me because there's a lot of stuff with this style and technique and how it works that is so antithetical to how I try to approach painting and even how I teach it in regard to, in especially regard to how to best manage your time as you're painting and using these small brushes and just kind of just airily layering and layering. There's no doubt. I cannot argue that I'm not getting the effect, that kind of light, airy build-up effect that I like, that I was seeing in these artists' work, but it is very time-consuming. I mean, we are 2.5 hours into this thing, and I think I have like maybe just this one little tiny part painted, and nothing else is figured out yet. And for me, if I don't have a finished painting in a couple of hours, or at least close to a finished painting, where I know what everything is going to be at least, it feels like I'm wasting time. I'm so time-oriented with the speed of it. Usually. Qualifier. A hasm. But there is no doubt, there's something to it. It's a really cool, it's a cool look, I think. Do I have a certain artist in mind that does this kind of thing? I can't remember their name. I was just watching, I just happened to see some of their work somewhere, I think on Twitter maybe. And then I went down this rabbit hole last night or yesterday and was painting. I was watching them paint YouTube videos. I'll dig it up and I'll have a name next time. If you remind me. Or I'll post it on Twitter, I guess. So if you don't already follow me on Twitter, it's at Izzy Medrano, and I'll post the video so you can see kind of what I'm mimicking. Not very well, but I was inspired to try it out. And you should absolutely follow this artist's work. Their stuff is incredible. They definitely also have a brush set that's more conducive to this. Instead of a single stroke, it does like 3 or 4 at the same time. So it's like a rake. And I don't have anything like that that's not, excuse me, more harsh. Sharp edges. So I have things that are close, but nothing that's kind of there. This is probably the closest, I'd guess, that gets that effect. But even this is just too sharpy to me. It doesn't have that same brushy feel. Yeah. It's too uniform. Eich. Yeah. I think I'll stick with the other one. Chuck it on Discord. Yeah, I can do that too. Yeah, their work is super low key. Yeah, it'll be worthwhile to check out. Sort of like a weird, messed up Shrek. You need to hop on the Discord. Yeah, join up. The Discord link is below on in the About section. You just need to click it, and you'll be able to join our public section. There's a patrons only channel. There's several. But tell me what's in the bucket. What's in the box? Nice. It's a little bit less active than it has been, for sure. I think everybody's busy, COVID and things like that. Just kind of doing their own thing. That's all right. But it's a pretty good community. Everybody's really chill. And if you're looking to improve your artwork, you can't do better. I think they're super helpful. They're always helping each other out. I keep going back to the damn sleeves. Pfft. Jeez, Izzy, let the sleeves go already. Jesus. We just need more people in it, probably. Yeah, there's... like a glove. Nice. Well, welcome. Applying all those changes to the pirate piece, looking a lot better. That's great. Glad the feedback could help. Thank you for spending the Z bolts and for watching. I appreciate it. I'm definitely all about building our community here, and it's really important to me. Yeah, post it in the Discord. We want to see what you do with it. Been doing some pose drawing during the stream, and now you're trying to do some from imagination, trying to capture the feeling. Yes, it is difficult. It's good. It's good exercise though. Do the studies first, and then try to evoke whatever feeling or anything that you're after from imagination. It's a challenge. It's a good one. The Auxis. Awesome. Thanks for the follow. Glad you could join us. Struggle so bad with poses. Oh man, we all do. I hear ya. One of the places that I like, so you can do for more natural poses, there's stock photography on DeviantArt that's not bad. It's a little bit more natural. There's also shooting your own, which is a great way to do it. Diao is trying to draw illustrations of mental illness right now for a university task. It's struggling like hell. Oh man, I hear you. I actually did a very similar theme while I was in college. We did a mental illness. I think mine was borderline personality disorder, which was a really tough one to pull off. It's a good challenge though, to try and do it in a way, especially that's not judgmental or anything like that. It's an issue. I'm really glad you like the art. Thanks. The assignment is to make a zine, and you took that as your theme. That's cool. It's really cool. It's a challenge. Whew. What else did I do? I did borderline personality disorder. I remember that one. I think I did, it was still called multiple personality disorder at the time. I think it's called dissociative personality disorder now. And depression. Gray Voices, you did the art for Disco Elysium? It's in my to purchase list on Steam only because of the art. It's incredible looking art. I have no idea what the story's about. Draw more. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. At least you can use other people's art for some things in it. And you looked at Sean's art. Oh, okay. You're on the art. The whole game is masterpiece. One of the favorite games ever. Really? Hot damn. Okay. I have heard that the writing in Disco Elysium is pretty damn top notch. Halama Harris, welcome. Glad you could join us. Sorry if I butchered your name. That's going to happen a lot here. Gray Voices, I'm waiting for the Disco Elysium writer's novel to be translated to English. Oh, really? Shit, okay. That's pretty amazing. Wow, everybody should pick that up. I know that it's an indie title, or it's a smaller budget title, so y'all should give it a shot. Support your game devs. Toss a coin to your game dever. I got nothing that rhymes with Witcher. Sorry, not enough coffee in the world. The dude has had that world in his head for 10 years. Damn. Okay. All right, you've sold me. I'll pick it up. I don't know when I'll get to play it, but I will buy it. I have no idea what this structure is that I've been painting or what I left in here. It was in the original sort of rough sketch idea. I have no idea what it's meant to be. But I like the shape, so I'm just going to leave it in there for now. Until something better comes along. I think we're going to Just in general, knock back these pants. Remember what I was talking about with the with using the light to sort of spotlight a focus. It's a cheat, but it totally works. Let's make a new layer. Why not? You got the first design for a cover done today. 12 pages in the back to go. Awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty good assignment. Yeah, I think it's some like maybe like a leather strap with some kind of edging, but I don't know what it actually is in terms of function. I am enjoying, and this is something I really just don't do that much, is just painting with a very, very light sort of touch. I'm doing a lot of that with this painting as part of my experiment, trying to do something a little bit different, challenging myself, trying to learn something, and it's surprisingly kind of fun. I need to make more brushes like this one that are responsive to very, very gentle touch. I really just don't have that many. The assignment was as open as it could be. You picked the topics yourselves. That's awesome. All right. Hey, Lazy. Totally understand. I'm real sorry we slowed you down. Stop in whenever you get some free time. Let us know how your thesis is going, okay? But yeah, definitely feel free to focus. Take care. I need some lip balm or something. My lips are so dry. So dry and chapped, guys. And coffee isn't helping me. Moist. Moist. Too much kissing. I'm kissing my tentacle monster in the writhing mass. Straight to prison. Do not pass go. I'm in Twitch jail. That is not what I wanted to do. Well, maybe it is. Let's try it. Oh, Kylie. Usually I enjoy your company, but not today. I can get you out of my head. Ha! All right. What else can we add to our haunted little spooky guy here? I like that blue I just added. I'm gonna do some more with that blue, I think. Avid, this kind of ties to what we were talking about with your critique. So I'm introducing a new color, but notice that the color is living in a vacuum right now. It's just in one spot. So we want to look for places that, and this is, kind of an illustration technique, but it totally works, to use that color throughout the image. And the idea is that you're basically introducing a light that's going to be bouncing around, and it's influencing the other colors in the image. So you can't, no color, nothing really is going to be operating in a vacuum unless it's a stylistic choice. So I'm lightly bringing in some blue here and there to kind of just vary things up a little bit. And by introducing it, it's going to feel more cohesive, and it won't stand out as a thing that doesn't belong. Jumped onto the Discord just for fun. Awesome. Welcome. Yeah. Well, the more people that are on there, I think the better. We can all just help each other and keep practicing and give each other critique. It's great. It's a great place. I thought I heard my dog misbehaving, but I guess she's being good. I hope. Usually when she gets quiet, that means something naughty is afoot. Just like me. She learned it from me. I'm still just playing around with that blue. I'm just introducing it here and there, just little touches of color. And the end result, of course, is that it will be unifying throughout. So it's not just a spot. Autumn, welcome, buddy. How you doing? We're doing an early session today. My Thursdays are always super early, so I never expect anybody on the West Coast to be on. For precisely that reason. You're working. That's great. Hopefully it's a fun gig. Collecting art discords for inspiration. Nice. Most of the discussion is happening in the patron exclusive chats at the moment. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start opening up a couple of those to be a little bit more inclusive with the public community stuff, because I hadn't planned for that to be such a big part of what we're doing with Patreon. But I think it's probably a good idea to eventually integrate them a little bit more. I'll definitely keep at least one channel that's patron exclusives, but and that'll be the stuff where we're doing feedback, and there's going to be NDA specific artwork for clients and things like that. But yeah, I think the more open we make it, the better. Patreon is unpayable for you right now, student life and all that. Totally get it. Yeah, Adobe needs that cash. They need it more than anybody. Movie posters, nice. I'm painting weird ass tentacle monster, and I don't know why. There's something wrong with me, guys. Can't stop with the monsters. You missed some cyberpunk. We did some cyberpunk the other day. That was fun. So my instinct naturally is to always try to round out forms and introduce multiple light sources in order to better illuminate the elements of my illustration. But this style that I'm mimicking, as I mentioned before, is definitely much more chiaroscuro. So I'm gonna let the shadow side be, and I'm just gonna let it shadow pool and just play with the textures inside it instead. Oh yeah, Cyberpunk will be everywhere shortly. Probably for the exact same reasons I did it. I'm super excited, man. Like, ridiculously excited. It is hard to define just how much. I imagine they're pretty freaked out right now, though, with the insane expectations that are coming down the pipe. I mean, even I'm a game developer, and my expectations at this point are just ridiculous and unattainable. It's just cruel. But here I am. You're so bad at lighting and shading. Most of your art is black and white, usually with a single red detail. That's all right. It's a good place to start. Just keep expanding. Try and introduce more and more light, more and more color. Hey! Hey! That's a naughty puppy. He's still boofing. Woof. 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 I got her started. Kova, no. That's my fault. I shouldn't have done that, but it was too funny. Oh my god. Yeah, the crunch is bad. It's terrible. I feel bad. I really feel bad for that team. They're gonna be spending some nights underneath the desks, passed out. I've been there. You're more of a fantasy style guy. Yeah, I love fantasy too. Actually, the reason I'm excited about Cyberpunk is that the system is going to be so. I'm excited about the system, which it sounds like, and I played Cyberpunk back in the day. It sounds like it'll be a very solid RPG system. And if they're able to pull that off, I'm excited. I'm in. For me, it's just good systems and great RPG, fun stories, cool visuals. That's it. The genre is open. Really hyped. Definitely gonna buy it. Yeah. Any idea what kind of character I'll play, Avid? I don't know. I'll probably try a few different characters. I can tell you that my go-to characters, almost always with RPGs, both tabletop and in games, is to play characters that are more problem solving, like laterally speaking. I don't usually play like heavy grunts or anything like that. I don't usually go for heavy weapons. I'll do stealth and diplomacy forward characters a lot. So I'm playing Outer Worlds right now. I haven't been able to put a whole bunch of time into it, but all of the points that I've bought so far have been in stealth and diplomacy. So I'm passing a lot of the speaking and arguing and threatening type skill checks. But in terms of combat, I'm dog shit. But I like that. I like the challenge of doing it in a different way. And what I'm excited about with Cyberpunk is that it seems to be encouraging that kind of variety. You know, you'll be able to play as a decker, or you know, you'll be able to do things other than just being a straight street samurai, which is cool. Let's see. What I miss? What I miss? What I miss? Your community won't let it pass. Yeah. Oh yeah, Autumn. There's no way you're going to be able to skip this. I think that's why the developers are so concerned. Is like basically this has been pumped up to be like a game that will be defining for the entire medium for all time. So yeah, there's no way you're getting out of this one. They did it to themselves, but yes, there's no way it'll live up to the crazy hype. No, there won't be. You can hope. We can all hope. We can all hop on the hype train. Yell at dog, harass dog to bark. Checks. It's true. It's true. I'm a monster. I wipe away Kova's tears. She gets really gross, gummy booger eyes, and I'm the one that has to clean them up. So this is my small, delicious little vengeance, is to tease her. It's only fair. You don't expect the gameplay to be mind blowing. Yeah, it's true. It's not really there. I'm sure the gameplay will be fun enough, but yeah, it's going to be about story. You're being absorbed by the world. That's the way. That's generally what they do, and they do it really well. Avid, you're going to play a hacker boy. Nice. You kept it down with getting hyped on Cyberpunk. It's quite a task, but you'll just grab it and head in. Yeah, that's a smart way to do it, is just manage your expectations, and then you can't really be let down. Maybe you'll even wait until you have the new PC so you can play on Ultra without smelling a 1080 burning. Well, yeah, mine. I built the PC that I have now specifically to play Cyberpunk, and I'm excited about it, but I've been having computer issues, so maybe patience would have been better. Maybe not for Ultra. Yeah. 1440p. Yeah. Just want to get it yourself. With the overkill PC, yeah, I do too, because I don't want to miss out on any of the visuals. I mean, the visuals are a huge part of this thing. Fucking lean in, man. You stream art, though. Your small computer community is pushing you to do more gaming. Oh, really? I actually haven't gotten any pushes on doing some games. I'm just doing the art, but I would like to do more game stuff, but I don't imagine anybody's interested in seeing that, to be honest. I have never understood why anybody watches anybody playing video games live. I do watch people play, but it's almost always recorded on YouTube, and it's because I want to learn something rather than doing the community stuff. So it's weird. I like this part of Twitch in terms of community, where we're making things. I'm weird that way. I'm just a weird guy. It's what I do. It's who I am. You got the 2080 Ti on a whim because you saw a nice deal and you ended up going through a real dry video game phase. Nice. It hurts. I have the 2080 Ti. It has been, when I do game, it's been really amazing. There's one game that I was playing that I got on the Xbox Live Pass just to test it out, and that was the Grounded, which is the Honey I Shrunk the Kids Survivor game, and the visuals are insane. Like, it looks so good. So I am hyped for these upcoming games for sure. Visually, I think they're definitely going to be able to live up to the hype. It's insane what these things can do now. I love it. Just a little bit brighter, just a touch. Yeah, I think there's something to this different style. I'm going to keep playing with it. I think I'm going to do probably a couple more paintings in this way and just keep playing with it and see if it's something that I can really use, because I really like the effect it's giving me. It's almost kind of like painting with colored pencils. The more I'm thinking about it, it has that feel to me, like colored pencils and acrylics together. It's not oils, it's more dry media, which is fine. Pretty fun. It's an interesting effect, and it definitely works really well in the darks. I think I'll try one that's much brighter next time after we finish this guy. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta give the games a try. I'll just do it one of these days and see. We'll see if anybody joins. Speaking of that, I should join you for a night of Among Us. I haven't played it yet. I'm intimidated. I'm a terrible liar. I will just straight up tell people that I'm the killer every time, and then I'll just be tossed out. I don't really understand all the mechanics of the game, but it does look fun. It's really nice to just crank everything up if it doesn't hit the 144 FPS. Yeah, it is fun to crank it up and just see what it looks like, and listen to your computer scream all of the fans at full blast. Sonabil, welcome. Hi, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Your time zone is forcing you to get some sleep. Oh, Diao, thank you for hanging for a little bit. I totally understand how that goes. Take it easy. Get some rest. We'll catch you next time, I hope. See you on the Discord, yeah. You really want to see me try something in a Hearthstone style, just as a challenge mostly? You mean sort of like a more cartoony thing? I could give that a go. John Zylstra did that. He did a Hearthstone style art, and it was hilarious. Oh no, he did. He just told everybody that he was the murderer the whole time on Among Us. Yeah, this fragmented conversation can be tough sometimes with a lot of people. Excuse me. Also, all of that soda I've been drinking. I dranked. I'm going to, just for my own joy and pleasure, I'm going to throw in some speculars really quick on our pot head. And I think we'll probably call it a day after that. For now, we'll bring this one back up. I might come back on tomorrow, or maybe this weekend, just to check in and do a little bit of painting. I don't know for sure yet. We'll see. I know I want to kind of experiment a little bit with some different times in conjunction with my changes on Patreon. Now that I've canceled the student tier and the Logic of Light and Color series is going to be going on to a less frequent release date basis. So that's going to come with me trying to accommodate more people so we can all hang out. I know that we'll soon be having some of my students from the day job will be joining us in the future. My thinking was just to kind of connect everything so that they have access at different hours. So yeah, I think one day a week probably we'll be doing a morning one instead for Europe and Asia, so I can accommodate everybody. I will definitely keep you posted on that. But keep an eye on your notifications. If you don't have your notifications set up so that you see when I'm going to be streaming, feel free to turn those on. I'd love to have you guys in there on those rando days as well. Hey, I don't know what happened there. That was weird. We'll try to be here for the EU hours. If only the Twitch app didn't notify half an hour after the stream begins. Oh shit, really? Is that what it's doing? That's not good. I wonder why it's doing that. That's very strange. I've got some friends that they don't, they won't use the Twitch at all. They won't follow me on Twitch because Twitch isn't working for them as an app at all. I wonder if that's common. I had a lot of issues with it when I was first thinking about joining up and doing regular shows. I started trying to watch, like Autumn, I tried to watch you a couple of times on my phone and it wouldn't work. And it's continued to be a problem. I actually tried again recently and I couldn't sign on with my phone. My iPad, it works fine. And with my PC, it works great. Yeah, it's super annoying. And I have a feeling that it's probably losing us some views for sure. It'd be great if you ask around too, because I'm definitely kind of trying to see what's going on with some other people. If you ask around too and you're kind of seeing some of the same thing, maybe we should take it to Twitch and say, there's something up with your app. It's dog shit and you should fix it. Asshole. Boy, noodling is kind of fun, huh? Sana Bil, you were actually thinking about joining in the classes next year. Nice. We won't have the monthly classes next year. Probably. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what I had no idea that I would be shutting it down or that I'd be doing Twitch this time last year. So anything is open to change. I can't say for sure on anything. But as of right now, the monthlies are being shut down, but the idea is to up the accessibility and the community on formats like here on Twitch, and to do more interactive stuff, do more shows like other people's podcasts and things like that. I'm going to try and just be more available on that end and less focused on making like the more a la carte lessons. The lessons that I do make I'm still going to be releasing them. They're just going to go straight to Gumroad instead. And I know for sure that patrons on Patreon will have their discounts still. So that'll be the cheapest way to get it is through the Patreon. And the Patreon is also the way to get into the Discord community directly for the patrons only section. And it will have other features. The big thing that I'm planning to do feature-wise for Patreon is to push more into doing crits. So we'll have basically what we're going to do is build a crit tier. I'm still talking to different students and different folks trying to get an idea for what will work for that. But that's my current thinking is we'll make it more about crits. We'll make it more about interactive teaching rather than the a la carte lessons. You'll still have them. There'll still be a support. I'll still be referencing them. I do that all the time currently, and I will continue to do that, where I tell you that these different lessons will give you what you need so that I don't need to do the full lesson again and again. That's the whole reason I started doing the lessons, is so I didn't have to repeat myself so much. So that asset will still be there. It's just we're changing how it's going to work. Yeah, that's awesome, Sonabil. That's doing the streams and the YouTube and things like that over these last few months is what I'm hoping will be a more effective way of doing this and sharing the information, building the community. I think there's more to be gained from building a community around this stuff than there is to just do like a private teaching session, and then of course back it up with the private stuff. But I think the community is going to be big. In regard to just building up the connectivity, getting people working together, helping each other, that sort of thing, and it also helps that on the back end I'm doing freelance, or not, I'm no longer doing freelance, and I'm now doing a full-time job. So it's a little less time that's taken from my day, so I can focus more on the big gigs and lean on the community when I have that time off. There's a streamer named Paul Scott who also works for Magic the Gathering and a bunch of other projects. He's having interviews though, and it might be worth reaching out and getting on there. Oh, dude, awesome! If you follow him, could you please mention my thing too to him, and I'll look him up also. I think if he gets notifications from multiple places and I hit him up, it would help. That's awesome. Thank you for letting me know about that. Look at that huge cluster art that is Cynix's Discord community. I don't know it. It must be pretty massive though, eh? The whole art competition. What is that? You guys got to catch me up. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm a weirdo. Let me do just... I'm carrying on a little too much here. This is going to end up being my longest cast. I just keep drawing. Okay, one more punch of light. This time we'll go big. Cool it off a lot. Let me grab my chunky brush. Make these sharp edges, since I don't really have any sharp edges anywhere else. It's all a sharp build-up. And I know I'm breaking my rule. I'm jumping to Speculars way too fast. The rest of the painting is not at all figured out. But it's just because it's fun. Come on. Come on. Don't deny me my fun. We'll come back to this. I think this is kind of a fun piece. We'll do some more with this. I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are too. I don't know. We'll see how I feel when I open it up next time. Yeah, Autumn. It's all about the community. I think that's going to be the future of this sort of thing. Ow! Poor fingers. My poor Vienna sausages. Look at them. I've damaged them. I think Cynix is a type of food. I do. That is true. Is it not a type of food? He created a whole new Discord to hold tournament in an attrition style, getting like 20 people to make pieces every week and eliminating the stragglers. Holy shit, that sounds crazy. FFS Angel, welcome. Hello. Do I have any tutorials of stuff? I have loads of tutorials. I have an entire series called Izzy's Logic of Light and Color. It's available on Gumroad currently, and you can get a discount through my Patreon. The Gumroad is gumroad.com/Izzy Medrano. Patreon is patreon.com/Izzy Medrano. You get a 25% discount if you join the Patreon at any level. I have just shut down new lessons on the Patreon. I will still continue releasing new lessons, but they'll go directly to Gumroad in the future. Patreon will be my crit gateway going into the future, and that will all happen here on Twitch. You can find loads of stuff on YouTube. My very first lesson is free on YouTube, youtube.com/Izzy Medrano. Look for 3 rules to make your painting better. And that is my very first lesson for Izzy's Logic of Light and Color. And all other lessons are built on that. So it is a must watch. You can watch it for free over there. Also, I've been archiving all of my Twitch episodes on YouTube so far. I will not always be doing that, but for now, so you can catch up on tons of information, critiques, all sorts of good stuff. Watch me paint and make an ass of myself on YouTube. It's good fun. Look for Izzy Medrano, Gumroad, and Patreon. Yeah. It's getting some changes. Yeah, okay. Dude, great voices. You're on top of this thing. Thank you. You've told it all. The metal work, awesome. Everything is food if you try hard enough. This is a fact. It's basically my motto. It's how I live. So, anyway, gang, I must away. I've got some other things to handle this evening and some other work to do. It is always a pleasure hanging out. Hopefully you all had fun and enjoyed yourselves, learned a little something. And yeah, we'll be back to paint some more monster goo balls later. Keep your eyes peeled for notifications if I'm able to do a rando session here sometime this weekend. I'd love to stop in for a couple of hours and hang out. So, yeah. Thanks for the follow, Angel. Appreciate that. Glad you could join us. Yeah, y'all have a good one. Take care. Enjoy your weekend. If I don't get to see you, we'll see you again on Mondays and Tuesdays at 3 p.m. I keep changing the schedule so damn much. So 3 p.m. Mondays and Tuesdays Pacific Standard, and noon Pacific Standard on Thursdays. Those are my regulars for now. Look to see them change. Make sure to check below for schedule going into the future and all that good stuff. But yeah, give a follow and you'll get notifications on when we go live. So yeah, thanks for hanging. As always, paint smart, paint sexy. I'm Izzy, a professional writer, concept artist, and illustrator. I've taught painting for a dozen years or so, on and offline. Many of your favorite illustrators and designers have studied with me or under me and have gone on to teach in their own right. You're here because, like they did, you want to learn to paint realistically for illustration or concept art. Well, worry not. You're in the right place. Grab a seat. I want you to join me as I explain all the aspects of image making in extremely digestible and clear monthly lessons. Not through the lens of silly how to paint hair or eye demos. That shit is carnival tricks. And you're not really learning anything except an exact way to render one thing in one manner. This is painting mysticism at its worst. Watching these kinds of exploitative lessons won't help you level up with your understanding. Sure, now you can paint sparkly hair, but what if you want to paint a dragon, or figure out how to render a sea of fire, or depict a one-eyed transgender space marine dying in the vacuum of space? Painting and image making are tools of communication, and can be learned by anyone willing to put in some time. Like grammar is for language, light, color, and form literally follow a formula. Painting well is not a matter of chicken bones, zombie crackers, and the ever-dismissive concept of talent. Learning with my series, Izzy's Logic of Light and Color, will give you the tools and understanding so you can analyze light and form in reality and bring it to life in your work. Using this simple system I have distilled will help you harness your art to share your ideas as you've always intended. When we are children, we all draw in symbols. Symbols for our house, our hands, the sun, the grass, our pet lobster. As we grow into artists, we must learn to throw away symbols and begin to draw and paint what it is we actually see. And as we grow further, we learn to paint beyond what we see and what is actually there. Until finally we move beyond this and learn to trim away what is actually there so we voice only what we want. With me, you're going to have to buckle in and maybe take some pain meds, because I'm going to rip out your normal person's eyes and replace them with a painter's eyes. I'm going to restructure how you see and how you understand what you're seeing. I'm going to turn you into a painting machine. Truly, anyone can learn to paint realistically if they can both determine what they're seeing or imagining with basic and straightforward rules. Once you understand the mechanics of light, color, and form in reality, you will have the capacity to paint anything you can see or imagine realistically. After that, the real fun begins. Here are some of the ways you can join me and master the logic of light and color. The very first lesson of my series is totally free on my YouTube channel. In that lesson, I give you the 3 primary rules of light that are the very foundation of painting and understanding light itself. If you do nothing else to make your painting mastery easier, at least watch this amazing little lesson. It will do more for your basic understanding of light than just about any tutorial you can find. When you're ready to get deeper and you feel like you have those first rules figured out, allow me to utterly blow your mind with the next episodes available on Gumroad and ArtStation. As we go deeper into the rules underlying the logic of light and color, I carefully and simply explain important and interesting elements. From beginner to pro, there is an amazing amount of information available. Each concept has been distilled into the clearest explanation you're likely to find anywhere. Like episode 2, where we cover the atmospheric effect and how that relates to light, scale, and distance of objects in reality, and how to render it. Or episode 3, where I hand over the ultimate key to controlling value in your paintings. Episodes 5 through 8 are all about rendering materials. Want to understand the logic behind rendering metal, leather, hair, transparency, damn near anything. I even cover the logic behind painting special effects like fire, neon, or lightsabers in later episodes. The lessons just get deeper and more detailed as I build on the foundations covered in preceding episodes. The 10th gives you the most important rule of composition you'll ever learn to keep your images interesting. The next few episodes cover important painting techniques like my edge control ninjutsu or simplification with the large to small system. We dip a toe in color theory, devote a few episodes to finishing full-blown illustrations utilizing the techniques we've learned so far. Some episodes, like the lighting game or Advanced Exercises 1, the shirt, present cheap, valuable, and practical exercises to give you explosive growth in your development. Episodes 22 through 25 cover painting and illustration, just like I do for Magic the Gathering, from assignment and inception to signing the painting at the end. Each one is full of tips, knowledge, everything to make working as an illustrator easier. Did you enjoy learning how to paint basic materials? Metal, wood, and such? I got 3 whole episodes devoted to the intricate logic behind painting different kinds of skin. After that, more lessons devoted to pumping life into your portraits and original methods for accurately drawing faces out of your head. From fundamentals to photo bashing, Gumroad and ArtStation have every lesson I create available for purchase a la carte. But here's an even better way to learn with me. Stay current with my latest lessons on Patreon for the lowest price available. Monthly support gets my student that month's lesson, a critique or paint over of their finished work, a discount code for 25% off the entire Gumroad archive, and access to the Logic of Light and Color Discord community, where we plan future lessons, share knowledge, and learn together as a team. The absolute best method is to join my Patreon classroom at the Student Plus tier, where you'll get everything I just mentioned and a free episode from the archive every month to accelerate your mastery at your own pace. You've decided to take control of your painting and master Izzy's logic of light and color. Now it's up to you to choose the path that's best for you. I'll see you on the flip side. Paint smart, paint sexy.